Well, howdy do, and welcome to another episode of Hush Hush Taboo Talks. I'm Juju.
And I'm Shay.
We are doing another Ghost. No, Ghost is the movie. We're doing another movie review on the movie
Spooky
Ghost.
season.
Yes, spooktacular Spooktober and Spookfall, just
Right.
Spook Autumn.
Right.
On the movie Ghost, spoiler alert, with Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, 1990.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Probably 1990.
Yeah.
And if you have not seen it, go see it. Go watch it before you even hear this. But I'm sure you've seen it before. It's like a classic.
Over
Yeah.
30 years, not a spoiler.
Right.
Yeah, no, I've always loved this movie. I think it came out when I was like before kindergarten. So I was definitely a kid, but I remember watching it. It was during when I had memory because I remember, I feel like I saw it either in theaters or on VHS right when it came out. So within the year. And Whoopi killed it. I think she's the first person to, right? I think she's the first one to win an Oscar for a comedic role. Because it's not necessarily a comedy, but she's all the comedy.
Right.
And it's really good. It's about betrayal and after death, afterlife, I guess. After what happens after death. So the afterlife, belief and faith and conviction and all those good things. Yeah. Let me see. Tony Goldwyn's in it. He plays Patrick Swayze's best friend. And I think more attractive the character than Patrick Swayze, but he's supposed to be like that Jeffrey Dahmer, like Wall Street charmer who is smart and has money and knows what to do with money, and he's smart, very left brain, but also very deceptive. I don't know. You wanna expand from there?
Yeah. So I
might
haven't
be missing
even
something.
seen. I didn't see it when I was a kid, like you were saying. I seen it when I was like a preteen. So I seen it like further on. I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I seen it when I was a preteen, and that's when I gained like a passion for it. Like, oh my god, it was a good movie.
Right.
And I feel like it first starts off with like love and intimacy and romance. Because Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze had like a strong passion for each other and a love for each other. So that's it capture your interest straight from the beginning because like you can tell like they're connected, deeply connected.
The pottery,
right?
the intimate
And
pottery
then
scene. Yeah.
his friend, what's his name?
Tony Goldwyn is the actor. I forgot his name.
I forgot the character.
The character, yeah.
But Tony Goldwyn, his Patrick Swayze's friend in the movie, was acting like he was a good friend. So he was like, oh, I could do this for you. You want me to do this for you? He was just helping them move in. Carl, there you go. He helped them move in, and he was helping both of them. He portrayed himself to be like a loyal, down, friend. Which he was nothing like that. So
Nothing of the kind.
Nothing of the sort.
The sort wasn't. Was it implied that they were college affiliates?
I think
associates?
so.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
Certain thing that sticks out to me was when Patrick Swayze said, I think he said it. I didn't write it down. I didn't write down who said it, but it says, when you say I love you all the time, it doesn't mean anything. That stood out to me because it could be true. Actions to me is like, stronger than words, and how you treat me and how you react to me. It can tell me you love me more than the word itself,
For sure.
So that like stood out to me in that part. Also, like you said, the after death experience thing. I feel like the first scene, it cuts. I don't know if I'm cutting too early, and stop me if I am. So
it ain't no spoiler now. It's on 37. This thing can drive.
Right.
Right.
So the first scene that caught my eye after Patrick Swayze went through that traumatic experience when he getting stabbed and he died was after they went through his body. They like had a camera like kind of went through his body. The first thing we seen was fall. Like the fall leaves, the color of the leaves, the leaves on the ground, which to me represented transition and new beginning for him.
Right.
I don't know if they meant to do it that way, but that's kind of how I interpret it. What do you think about that?
Really keen observation. I didn't catch that since I've been watching it since I was 4. I do know what you mean though, because they did the door that way too. Like I think it's toward the end when he was raising the penny up, and she had to have faith. She had to see it to believe it. But they did go through his body, and I don't remember seeing it autumn, but that makes sense because it is the beginning of. And like we posted the Nietzsche quote, autumn is the season of the soul rather than a season of nature. I feel like that's the first sign. If you go from spring to winter, it's the first sign of so-called death or like a slowing down. But death is just transformation. Everything changes form. So that is interesting. I never caught that. No. But perhaps, I mean, that was also the fall, if you want to put it this way, of his relationship with Carl. Because he began to see, he's stuck in between worlds, as Whoopi put it. So he didn't know. He kind of like a cat, I guess. Like he has the sense, because he sees the other spirits, like the demons who are taking other people away, and he sees another dude who's a brilliant character actor, the smoker on the platform, who teaches him how to physically hold cigarettes as a ghost and all that, how to channel his anger. He's in between worlds. I don't know. I feel like I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
Patrick, well, do you have anything that I didn't know about the autumn thing, but the autumn of the autumn of Life Happens Again. I should do a reel of just Life Happens. The autumn of their relationship, because Carl really portrayed himself as someone who was down ass and loyal and this and that, and the whole time he was conniving, and then Carl found that out because he lingered on. He lingered on energetically, not physically, as a ghost.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
And betrayal happens in real life with
that's real.
People, acting like they're your friends or they're for you, and they turn around and stab you in the back.
And the more they know.
We had it happen before. I know I had to. I don't want to speak for you.
Several
but I had to.
times. Which time do you want to? That's a Patreon, y'all. That's something that we will actually charge for. Not full proper nouns, but like maybe first names.
But also you mentioned the cat. So the only person that can see Patrick Swayze after when he went to Demi Moore house, he went back to the house, was the cat. And a lot of people don't know, but a lot of pets in general can see other things and other unworldly things. You know? But cats specifically are the guardians of the underworld in Egyptian methodology.
Yes.
Mythology. I said methodology. Methodology. Y'all know what I mean.
There is a method to it.
Yeah. Right.
A method that was stolen like the world over.
Right. So I found that part very interesting too. The cat can see him, and when he like scared the cat like jumped and scratched his friend in the face.
And it was a black cat.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
Yeah. And then the cat played a catalytic part by scratching Willie Lopez. I kind of always his name is Willie Lopez. He knows where you live. I'm like, because the way that Whoopi, I think toward the beginning or the first third of the movie, she's translating for Sam. For Sam is Patrick Swayze. What she wants, what Sam wants to convey to Demi Moore, whose name I can't remember right now, the character, and she's like, his name is Willie Lopez. He lives at 555 so and so. She's like, that's my neighborhood. He knows where you live. But she's like, Molly, this is the mean. You in danger, girl. Like, you can't just blurt it out like that. Yes, I can. And quit moving around because you're making me dizzy. Like the way their exchange, it must have been improvised, some of it. Maybe. It had to have been.
Yeah.
And she said when Patrick Swayze passed, Whoopi said that she credits him for having won the Oscar in the first place because he wouldn't do it without her. I think that's how the story goes. So, she totally, I think she was like definitely the comedic belief, but also her timing and that improv, it had to have been improv. And if not, either way, it's brilliant.
Right,
but
exactly.
It definitely like lightened the load.
Yeah,
it's a heavy
it definitely
movie.
did. It definitely did. So if for y'all who don't know and haven't lived under a rock and have not watched Ghost, Autumn Mae Brown, who he was speaking of, is Whoopi Goldberg's character, which she was a psychic. She was Rita Miller. She was a slash Rita Miller. She was a psychic that was scamming people at first. So she always, her family had a gift. She said her mother had it, her grandmother had it, so she just didn't develop the gift yet. And I guess it was something about Patrick Swayze character that came in, that's when she actually developed the gift. So she actually was a psychic, but she never opened herself up fully to to go into her authentic self, basically. So maybe she was scared because as soon as she started hearing the real deal, she started running and screaming and all this stuff.
She's like, did you hear that?
She actually pretended to have the gift for years that she always had. So that's just like, people probably questioned her and probably told her she was fake and all this, but she always had, the gift. And it just took that to bring it out of her. That part was like, okay, I get where this is going now, because a lot of us have a gift.
Yeah.
And we don't know we have it until it takes like a little awakening to come in to say, hey bitch, wake up.
And to not let that predatory parasitic capitalism influence how you use your gifts.
Yeah.
And don't make money, but don't be scamming people.
Right,
when they was in the salon and she's like, Julieta, Josefina, Maria. See, here's my mom, Maria. I knew he was with his mother. After the third guess, after you guessed 3 different things, you knew that this poor woman who's grieving, her deceased was with his mama.
Oh my god.
Girl, you should have started with Maria. That's probably the most common name in English and Spanish.
For anything, I'm going to be on her side, on Autumn Brown's side, because she was trying to give people comfort. I felt like that's what she was trying to do, even though it was silly. But I felt like she was just trying to give people comfort. Like, she wasn't doing it in a bad way, like, call me now.
Not Miss Cleo.
Right. She wasn't doing that, but I felt like she was still giving people comfort. That she was taking people money, but she was giving people the comfort, like, to know, like, their family members are okay, their husband's okay, like, and she actually used her gift after to actually really, help people.
Right.
So
she was blocked off from it in the beginning.
Right.
And I feel like she was definitely more exploitive of her own gifts in the beginning.
Yeah.
When she was going through all them names. I guess the mother wasn't coming through. But then you say, okay, the mother's not coming through, I gotta move on, but you pay everyone the same amount of attention, because and moving right along, because who did come through was Sam.
Right,
Sam came through.
Yeah.
But she did have the gift, but it's like sometimes you just got to give them the due amount, because that's what John Edwards was saying too. So whoever comes through, and they have to channel for that entity and that individual person who's there physically.
Right.
So.
Right.
But she life taught her how to live it as the movie went along. As it tends to do. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's funny.
And then what stood out to me too, this is a funny part, but this is real life too. When Autumn Brown was like, when Patrick Swayze was talking to her crazy, even as a freaking ghost, he was like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. She was like, hold on. You can't talk to me any type of way.
She's from New York.
She's like setting boundaries for a damn ghost.
Yes.
Like, but that, you have to. Like, even though I was like, okay, yeah, she set that damn boundary even for a damn ghost. I hear that. I know that's right.
They were going back and forth the whole time, and all he had was time.
Right.
And all she had was time to contemplate how to scam people. So
right.
Then she heard $4 million.
And
she went to the bank and asked them for everybody for the pen that they had.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I'd like the $4 million in 10s and 20s. I'm like, that's a lot of $10 to $20 bills. That's a lot of bills. And then Patrick is guiding her as to what to say. Meanwhile, he was killed, Patrick was, for the $4 million that his friend is trying to embezzle. And I guess split it with Willie or give him a fraction of it.
Right.
Willie Lopez, who knows where everyone lives.
Right.
And then the woman, when they're all running for their fucking lives, the black woman who's trying to let Whoopi and her 2 psychic medium friends are trying to like not die and try to hide. And then they run into this older black woman's house, and she's like, you gotta let us in there after this. She's like, who are you kidding? And then closes the door in their face.
Oh my God.
But she had a chain, so she saw them through like the protection of the chain.
Right.
And it's like, girl, you ain't gonna find in Harlem. I think it's Harlem or Wash Heights or something. Like, you're not gonna find anyone, even in the 90s, who's that open and willing.
Right.
But yeah, it winds up being I think it's a whole movie, like WHOLE.
Yeah.
It touches all the bases. it's really hard to talk about such things as like the afterlife or the prostate or any of these taboo topics. It's more challenging because we don't have them typically in this country. So we're doing that now.
Yeah. So I know I like to touch on the character you mentioned earlier too. The guy in the train station that Patrick Swayze went back to was a ghost. And he was teaching Patrick Swayze how to move things. And I thought that was very interesting because every time he moved things, you saw a surge of energy, which means, metaphorically, everything is energy. They were both ghosts. You could see the energy surge every time he pushed something. You seen it and you heard it.
Right.
So I felt like that was very interesting because it was conveying that everything is energy. And also the character said it's all in your mind. And I felt that in real life, if you want to move something, if you want to change something, if you want to transform something, it's all in your mind. Physically, spiritually, financially, everything is up here. And he said, move it with your mind. It's about how you focus. Push all your emotions to the pit of your stomach. And when he said that triggered me because that's the root chakra. That's where all the energy comes from. It starts here, then it goes up. When he said that, I was like, this is brilliant. Whoever wrote this, if they didn't mince it like that, he said, put all your emotions in the pit of your stomach. And that's the root chakra. And that's where all the energy comes here and comes through your mind. That right there blew me away. And I was like, okay. And that's when he learned how to move things. I felt like
all your anger, all your love, all your hate.
Everything. All your emotions. Put it into something, form it in your mind, and go for it and go after it. That's what life is about.
It is.
Not even the afterlife when he's talking about. I'm like, that's what real life is about. If you want to go for something, if you want to go after something, instead of putting all your anger in something else, your sadness into something else, and your happiness into something else, you put all that emotion into one and you go for whatever it is that you're chasing. That's going to have movement. That's going to bring you movement. You're going to move shit, move mountains, all of that. So that part right there stood out to me. And that was like, the universe
has to conspire on your behalf. And it's funny because I feel like most of the emotions he was shouting out that Patrick should invoke were lower vibration, more guttural emotions associated with the root chakra, with the like the diaphragm and the solar plexus, because it starts from the sacral, right, or the root, and then it goes up. Unless you're talking about the feet, which is like, because there's hundreds of chakras.
But we're talking about the main ones.
Right. It's interesting. He said all your love, all your rage, all your hate. I think he said fear too, but he did say love, and love knows all those things, but love doesn't dwell in the lower frequency. But it is really, really profound, and like you said, I don't know if they meant it that way, but poetic that they use those words with that. Those adjectives with those body parts, like from your from your gut, because your gut's your second brain too.
And that's how you, that's how you manifest things.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and he knew he had been physicalizing objects, with objects as a ghost for however long. It seemed like he was there for a long time, the king of the subway.
Right, but that part stood out to me just to like metaphorically, it stood out as like a metaphor.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think. Like, let me know.
Let us know.
If I sound crazy or whatever, or was it just me? I don't know. Look at the movie and let us know and tell me, hey, yeah, you're right. It come off like this. Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think of anything that I might have missed. I love how when just the funny parts about Oda Mae Brown / Rita Miller, because that's one of the identities she stole, Rita Miller. And then she signs the wrong name when she's trying to endorse the check for $4 million. She's like, I signed the wrong name. And this woman's looking at her like she's crazy. I don't think that would ever fly these days. I think people, after the PPE loans and all that, I think people are too aware of scams. And scamming went up like tremendously as a result of COVID, which is freaking weird, but or to be expected, I should say. But the way that she has to give the check to a bunch of nuns, and she's like, they don't even buy pantyhose. I hate you. What are they gonna do with it? She's like, you'll go to heaven. She's like, I don't want to go to heaven. I want to go to the bank and cash a goddamn check. And I'm like, oh my god. And then she's spitting into air because she can't see him. She can only hear him. But I think it's mostly ad-lib, just like Robin Williams and most of his stuff. Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm thinking of. Just brilliant. And the fact that they captured all of that on camera and bring the heaviness that is required for a subject like mortality and the afterlife, I would give it like 4.5 out of 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a must see, guys.
Yeah,
definitely
for sure.
a must see.
Oh, and betrayal. It touches on betrayal too, and how karmic action is made just. How the universe handles justice. Because people will slither in, like we said, and act like your friend, and then try to screw your wife and all that. Well, I guess you're a widower because you're dead, but
right,
even still, so it touches on all that, and there is retribution. But yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, etc. Engage in any way you shall. Hush_podcast on IG. We are on, obviously, YouTube. We're on Spotify. And thank you.
Thank you, guys. Spooktober.
Stay tuned.